Hello fashion lovers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making this beautiful outfit, this pretty outfit. This is our results. Now let's start. So first of all, our measurements that we're using are using bust of 39, waist of 29 and hip of 41. So we are going to do it as a bustier. So we are adding 4 inches to our body measurement. We are adding 4 inches to the fold. So we are going to do the off shoulder as -6. -6 is what we are doing. And then her half length, what we're using for the half length is 17 inches. 17 inches is what we're using for the half length. Then the basque length will be 6 inches after the waist measurement. That's the basque length. That is that V at the down part after the waist. So right now we are going to look for the nipple to nipple measurement. She's busty, so we are using 4.25 as the nipple to nipple measurement. 4.25, and we are going to rule that 4.25 from up to down. So the next thing, we are going to impute our shoulder to nipple and shoulder to under bust. Remember, is -6. That's why my tape is up. -6. So her shoulder to nipple, we're using 11.5, and her under bust is 15.5 inches. It is 16, but I removed half length because I don't want the breast to drop. So I'm using 15.5 inches. Now, to create our bustier, we are going to remove 2 inches. 2 inches is what we're going to remove from the side. 2 inches. So you take the 2 inches from up, from the under bust down to the full length, and then from this other side we're taking only half inch. Half inch is what we're taking from up to down. We rule it like so. Then we come under the shoulder to nipple, come down by 1 inch, and then curve it to create the under bust curve. Now at the top part, we are going to be using 1 inch on each side because I want the cup to lap. I don't want it to gape. I want it to lap on her chest so that it will not gape. So I'm taking off 1 inch from the top, and I'm connecting it back to form the curve. Connecting it back to form the cups. Now we're going to be imputing our body measurements. Her chest line, we are going to impute our chest measurement. We're using 6, and since we removed 2, we are replacing the 2. We're replacing the 2 inches. Now imputing the body measurement. Her bust is 39. We mark 39 plus that 1 inch we removed there, we are replacing it. Then plus 2 inches for zip allowance. The waist is 29. We mark 29. We replace what we removed, which is 2.5 plus 2 inches for seam allowance. And then we curve out and connect to our hip line. If you notice, the dress does not have any measurements for the hip. So now to create that curve, that basque curve, I usually come down by 2 inches. If you like, you can do more than 2, but I prefer to use 2 inches. It pronounces the curve. Now you are not going to rule directly from that place. You are going to shoot in by 2 inches because of that 2 inches allowance you put for the seam. So we are going to connect from that 2 inches down to this dot line. Down to the dot line. We did not connect it to the front. We connected it to the dot line, because if you connect it to the front, the line will be distorted after you cut out the tube. So now we are going to cut out. Be very careful. The fabric I'm using is shifty, so I had to pin them. Now it's time for us to make our basque. We join them together line to line, and then we connect it so that the two lines will meet perfectly. You connect it, use your chalk and draw it, and then you cut it out. And that's it. So in cutting the back, we just measure 1.5 inches for the zip allowance, and then we still do -6. Remember, it's -6 we're using. From -6, you draw your armhole, which is 8, and then your half length, which is 17, and then the 2 inches after the half length. Remember, we did 2 inches after half length in front. We're going to do the same at the back. We're not going to do a very sharp basque at the back. The basque at the back is going to be very, very shallow. Now, the chest line is 6 inches. Remember, 6 inches is what we're using for the chest line. So we impute our measurement for the bust, add our 2 inches seam allowance, impute the measurement for the waist, add our 2 inches allowance, and then we curve. Now we are not going to take a straight half length at the back. We're going to curve it so that the back will have a curve, a very slight curve, but it will not be as sharp as the front. Very, very slight curve. So for the back neck, we don't want it to be hanging, so we are going to slope it down so that it will just lap at your back. And then we cut out. What we're going to do is to cut double for each of them. Double. Now to cut the down part, the gathers, we're going to cut 18 inches and tear it straight. Now we are going to be cutting that hand, that thing that connected from the armpit to the shoulder. Going to be drafting it on a paper. So now we are going to input our shoulder measurement, our armhole, and then give ourselves like 4 inches on after the armhole. Now the shoulder we're using is 16, our armhole is 9, and then we are going to connect and draw out our lines. Now the way to do this, we're going to impute our neck measurement as 2.5 because it's very, very close to the neck. Shoulder slope of 1 inch. Connect the two of them, and then impute our bust measurement, which is 39, and then impute 2 inches for seam allowance. After which we are going to look for the middle of our armhole and come in by half inch. And then we connect from the armhole to that middle and then to the shoulder. After doing that, now we determine the size of the band that is coming from that armhole. I want us to use 2.5 inches. You can use less, you can use more, it's depending on what you want. So now we are going to connect it. We are going to connect it to the neckline, to that 2.5 inches neckline that we did. So I'm going to use dotted lines because I'm using freehand. So I'll use dotted lines first of all to connect them. The first one I did was an error, that's why I marked bad on it. So we connect that line, and then since the width of what we are using is 2.5, we're going to now mark 2.5 all round. 2.5 all round, and then connect. Please, if you don't have good hand like my own, please use your curved ruler use your curved ruler. So after doing this, we are now going to cut it out. I put some allowance, I put 1/4 of an inch allowance around it, just in case I want it bigger, or to cut it out. I put 1/4 of an inch all around to give me space to sew, so that after sewing it will not come out too small. Now it might confuse you, so put an arrow up to know where the shoulder is. Now we are going to be sewing. We are turning the back first of all, the armhole, the neckline, and then the side. And now we are doing the front. We're going to do clothes to clothes, lining to lining. That's how we are going to do it. For the cape, you're going to turn both the inside and the outside. I cut 2 pieces for each. So use it to turn the inside and then turn the other side of the cape. Now we'll turn the front. We've sewed the clothes, we've sewed the lining. So now it's time to join both the clothes and the lining. So you start joining from the armhole, the chest, and then the sides to have a very clean finish. Now for the gathers, I'm going to use my machine to do a gather stitch. Gather the 1 for the front and 2 for the back, because I split it into 3 parts. Now we are going to attach the gathers to the back. Attach it to the back, 2 backs, and then attach to the front. After attaching it to the front, now we are going to add the shoulder. So I brought out the 2 shoulders so that I will not misplace them. I brought out the 2 shoulders and I added it. I make sure that it's the same length, because I added 2 inches allowance also to it. So I pin it down to secure it. I pin the other one down to secure that one also. Make sure it aligns to the armhole and to the side. So after doing that, I just used a stitch to hold it down at the side. Use a stitch to hold it down at the side. After doing that, I now brought the back and I joined it. Now I'm going to add my zipper at the back. I'm going to add my zipper at the back. So I'm going to sew down and then add my zipper. After doing that, I'm now going to march down the hand so that it does not move, so that I can remove my pin. I'll just run a stitch on it, both the up and the down part, so that it will hold, so that when your customer wears it, it will not be pulling, it will not be displacing itself, it will hold up the bust. Now we are going to add the rope that we'll use and tie at the back of the neck to hold up the dress. So this is the way we are going to do it. We're not going to join directly. No, we are going to use it and flip the neckline so that we'll have a clean finish. So we use it and flip it. Watch the way I'm flipping it. I use it to wrap around the shoulder, and then I sewed it all the way to the end. All the way to the end. After everything, give it a good press, and voila, our dress is done. Thank you for watching.